any other public officials sneak in when I wasn't looking that would like to speak? All right. I'd like to thank you all of our speakers, and we so appreciated your support, and everyone in the Central Hudson service area appreciates your support. We'd like to just take a couple of questions and they have to be questions, not statements. And just let us know if there's a particular speaker they're directed toward. Are there any questions?
I have a question because several of my friends are single proprietors of their businesses. One of them happens to live in the town of Esopus, and he actually went to Central Hudson. He wanted to go totally solar. This is a story that was told to me. This is anecdotal. And Central Hudson at the time told him that he could not totally have his electricity go solar. It would have to be only 68%. It wouldn't be allowed. Central Hudson said he wasn't allowed to do that. This particular individual came up to me and he said, well, what's the difference? I mean, if Central Hudson isn't going to allow me to do full solar, who's to say that Fortis is going to do the same thing? So I'm just being devil's advocate here, but I just wanted to let you know that there are people out there that feel that Central Hudson is not alternative energy, shall we say, for it.
Right. Right. Well, I'd say that, first of all, no utility is going to be perfect. But even with, yes, there have been, comments, concerns raised about Central Hudson in the past, as there have been with other utilities. But I think the real question is Fortis going to be better? And we have absolutely no indication to believe that is the case going by Fortis's own record and what it states on its own website. And I really encourage you, to look at Fortis's website, but also look at our legal brief and specifically, all of it really, but the section on Fortis's environmental record will give you a very clear picture of why we don't want Fortis here.
Thank you.
Has anybody taken Fortis Vice President Barry Perry's offer up to call Fortis and chat about the issues?
I personally.
Recently I was at a ribbon cutting ceremony where the Dutchess County Chamber of Commerce President Charlie North was present. And of course he's in support of the idea, and I'm wondering why. But at the same time, as you know, the ribbon cutting takes place, and of course they have a sign that says "Think local, buy local" kind of a thing, And I'm saying, well, this is the reason why we need to keep Central Hudson local. And of course, Charlie North turns around and is like, I need to talk to you about this. And he's in favor of the deal. And I said, well, I don't see it that way. So he's making arrangements for me to meet with them, with Fortis, and have an opportunity to ask some of their intentions and express some of my concerns.
Do you plan on asking them if they're going to meet with actual people, to meet with their residential constituents?
Well, it's a good question. I certainly could ask about that. I don't know if they have any intentions of meeting the general public, but certainly I can ask.
Thank you.
Toby?
Yes. I just rented a 20-year lease on a solar system from a company that's actually from California, but they employ local people to install the system. And my understanding is that I'm going to be getting 110% of my normal usage from this lease. And my concern is Central Hudson, that's an application that's going through Central Hudson, and if I have excess, it will go back into the grid because I don't store, I have no generator. But my concern is, what about other people in the future? If Fortis would come in here, would they even honor people who would be wanting to set up either solar on their own homes, even if it's not the municipality even, but on their own homes? And to me, what I'm feeling and one of the reasons that I'm sitting in this room is a resounding no. direction that they intend to go is to take gas that's fracked and sell us electricity through that fracked gas. And that is totally in opposition to what the community wants. So I'm very concerned about that, and I just wanted to put that out and see if anybody here could answer that or has anything to say about that.
I don't know. Dan?
I just have I just got this is in regards to Fortis, in a about way. The appellate division upheld the Supreme Court decision for the town of Dryden today.
Right.
So that means,
That's really good news.
that's
great
That's
news.
really good news. But I'm not sure I really understand the nature of your question.
What I'm saying is, if people are grandfathered in now, let's say I'm getting this, before Fortis to come in, I'm getting this with Central Hudson. What if my neighbors decide that they wanna put solar in? And Fortis doesn't honor that, the net metering?
Oh.
Well, right now, there's a tariff that's regulates the net metering, and that's approved by the Public Service Commission. So for them to dishonor the tariff, they'd have to really have to go back to the Public Service Commission and have them change the tariff. Having said that, I always think of utilities like elephants, all right? You don't want to be near them when they sit down. And you do not want to get in the way when they start moving. Now, this particular elephant gives no indication whatsoever, as Jen pointed out, that they are even conscious of an environmental movement. They're even conscious of sustainability. Their goal is to get as much gas and push it through the pipes and sell it, and sell it, their delivery services along with their electricity services as possible. That is their imperative. There are 20 people. There's a fact piece that came out. It's on the Central Hudson website. And it's sort of like when these folks kind of make up their mind to talk about what they're trying to accomplish, it's almost as if it benefits the opponents of the deal. Because they talk about the fact that they have 20 people. That's it. So when somebody calls up and you're out, you got 20 people in Newfoundland. What are they going to do for you? So that's fact something or other. It's coming out soon in the newspaper.
Jim, I think I can help very briefly with that
Okay.
question. We'll be up a creek without a paddle if this overseas company obtains permanent and lasting control of the monopoly in which we're embedded. I could say that Fortis would be expected in the early days, the early years, to make bare bones compliance with the tariffs and rules that now exist. The great worry about the fact that they will not pledge not to use their NAFTA standing. The real worry is any time that we try to have more sustainability, according to the governor's initiative, according to the legislative initiatives, according even to the vision of the Public Service Commission going forward. Whenever this entity, should it obtain control of this monopoly, whenever this entity would feel something could bite into its profits, then it could very well bring a case under the North American Free Trade Agreement,
That's right.
which would tend to trump the authority of the Public Service Commission, our only protector of our interest on this franchise as our regulator. So the real worry going forward, this lady has raised an important issue, but it is a metaphor for a much larger issue as we seek as a state to get out of this tinkering at the margins and move forward boldly on job creation and economic development in sustainable energy practice. We could see that they would be a boulder in the road.
Yep.
That's the worry.
That's a good point, Randolph. The last question.
I think Randolph is way too optimistic. The basis of any transaction is trust and credibility. And right from the get-go, when Fortis is claiming as a public benefit that they will not raise rates for the next year, that they will not change any labor agreements for the next 2 years. It's kind of like, one of the hats I wore some years ago was a shop steward, and I was involved in several labor negotiations. And good faith was the critical thing all through that. But when they offer as a public benefit, it's kind of like your boss saying to you, you did a real good job, take the weekend off. Okay? They cannot raise rates for the next year. They cannot violate the existing contract for the next 2 years. And if that's what they're saying, if that is their starting point, we don't have to wait for them to show a good face now and change later. They haven't shown a good face from the very start.
That's right. They're a glass half full kind of company. Okay, well, I wanna, one more.
Not a question, an answer. This woman who spoke first about a problem with Central Hudson, I think was dissed a little bit. I don't believe that because they are more perfect than Fortis or any company, that therefore they need to be, that needs to be accepted. That's like the same old business of voting for the lesser evil, which is something we're all trying to get away from. Yes. And I think that we need to stay on top of every company, every corporation, every politician to do better.
Thank you, Jerry. I just want to remind you